Alright. Yeah, looks good. Well, hey everyone, what's up? Well, today's the 24th of February, and we're getting hammered by the snowstorm. Believe it or not, yesterday, the snow was about to melt. Darn it. Well, I'm still alive, everyone, and so is Rob C. I think the reason he hasn't making any new videos because I think he bought a new house and a car, and I guess that's why he wasn't able to make any new videos. Now, for my case, no, I didn't buy a house or a car, but I've been very busy with doing some schoolwork for that class that finished 2 weeks ago, as well as, believe it or not, have been actually subbing for the past 4 days. Full days from 9:30 in the morning to 4:30 at night. Well, finally doing some substitution work, and I love that job. So, it's been a while since we last posted any good videos recently. So the latest one I'm going to do is for God of COD 92, who requested me to do another Mythbuster video. So this time I'm going to be doing the Tapinauchenius species, as well as I'm going to do the Iridopelma species, because they are very similar in care sheet to the Tapinauchenius, and they're pretty much in the same region. So as with other previous Mythbuster videos, this is going to be a detailed video of the Iridopelma and the Tapinauchenius species. So I'm going to be listing all the Tapinauchenius that I know are available in the hobby, at least in North America. We're going to go over how to pronounce the scientific names, as well as give slang terms, so that will be much more easier to remember them by, where to buy them, and how much they go for typically. About the sizes, the mature males, and the lifespans of both females and males. How to design their enclosures. Care sheet, humidity, and temperatures. My experience with the genus Tapinauchenius, as well as the Iridopelma. Spend some time on how to make them and breed them, exact count, and my personal recommendations, and these arrows we're going to be filling out together. So, without further ado, let's get started. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of species are Iridopelma and Tapinauchenius anyway? Are they New World arboreal species, or are they New World terrestrial species? Well, whenever people think of New World arboreals, they're probably going to say to you, oh, that's easy, the Avicularia and the Psalmopoa species. Well, Iridopelmas and Tapinauchenius are very uncommon in the hobby to almost rare. Especially here in Canada, we don't really get very many Tapinauchenius except the gigas. So, there are both indeed New World arboreal species. They originate from Brazil, Ecuador, Trinidad, so basically in the Central to South America. So now that we established of what kind of species they are, so allow me to introduce you to all the possible Tapinauchenius that are available in the hobby. I'm not sure if there's more in Europe, but these are the ones that I know of are in North America. Alright, so we have Tapinauchenius capreus, which is called the copper tree spider. Tapinauchenius eleni, which is the Ecuadorian gold or Ecuadorian tree spider. Tapinauchenius gigas, I'm sure everyone knows, my famous orange tree spiders, also called the orange chevron, because of the chevron patterns on the abdomen. Tapinauchenius latipeps, it's a very uncommon tap. It's called the ghost tree spider. Plumipeps, it's slightly more common. It's called the Trinidad mahogany. Tapinauchenius subcorulus, which is the metallic tree spider. Tapinauchenius violaceus, which is the purple tree spider, formerly purpureus. Tapinauchenius sancti vincenti, the St. Vincent's tree spider, which I have. And Iridopelma hirsutum, or species Recefi, they're both very identical. We call them the rib tree spider. So, not very original, these common names, aren't they? So this is how you pronounce the scientific names. So this is how you write Tapinauchenius, and this is how you pronounce it: Tapinauchenius and Iridopelma. So to make matters much more easier, just as Pokes is to Pocotheria, Avix as to Avicularia, and Samos as into Sampois, Tapinauchenius and Iridopelma have slang terms, so that way they're much easier to remember. So this is exactly how we pronounce them. Okay, so for the Iridopelmas, they're just simply Iridos, and Tapinauchenius, we like to call them Tappies. And it's a pretty fitting name because these are one of the fastest genus available in the hobby. And whenever you're running, you hear tap 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 tap. So Tappies are very fitting for this species. Alright, so now let's go look at Tarantulas Canada's gallery, and let's have a look at what these species look like. Alright, I'm on there. Alright, so let's have a look at the Capurius. It's the male. So you can see females and males do show sexual dimorphism. And they have really googly eyes in the front. So that's why they call it the copper tree spider. That's pretty self-explanatory. This is what a spiraling looks like. Tapinauchenius eleni, which is the Ecuadorian gold tree spider from Ecuador. It's got some pink going on here, mostly brown. The eleni is about female. You can see they're different. This is the spatterling of their eleni. Gigas, the orange tree spider, like mine. That's why they call it the orange tree spider. This is actually one of the largest members. Can attain a 5 to 5.5 inch leg span. Most of the species can attain at least a 3 to 4.5. Gigas mature male. Just like Randy and Leahy of my previous Gigas. Spiderling. Kind of looks like an avic. Well, actually a lot like an avic, except the only difference is that you have like a bumblebee pattern on the abdomen. Ladypeeps. Ooh, that's a nice one. Love the color on it. It's kind of like a silverish blue. Really cool. Plumbypeeps, which is the mahogany. Fortunately, I don't have a picture of a female. That comes from Suriname. Santi Vincenti, St. Lucia. So these will be Lisa's babies when they grow older, or once they hatch out from the egg sac. And Subcurulus. This is my favorite of the Tapinauchenius. It's unfortunate that Subcurulus also happens to be one of the more fragile members of the genus. You have to take care of it like an avic. You have to feed them really heavily at the sling stage so that way you can break out of their fertility stage. And you need to give them plenty of humidity and ventilation for it to survive well. The only place you can pretty much find Tapinauchenius are online dealers, not in pet stores. So like always, these are the recommended dealers that you should buy from. So in Canada, recommend Tarantula Canada, Avery's Exotics, and the Arachnoboards Canadian Forum. If you're in the States, KenTheBugGuy.com, Jamie'sTarantulas.com, Swift Simverts, as well as Arachnoboards, the for sale trade section. If you're in the United Kingdom or England, spidershop.co.uk, Virginia Cheeseman, and the European section of Arachnoboards. Okay, so about the costs. Well, they generally range from country to country, and especially the species. Gigas here generally go for around $25 as a half an inch. Capurius generally go for around 20 to 25. Subcarulus, I know I paid $50 for it. Valicios, generally they're around 40 to 45. Adults, I would probably suggest that the might be into the $100 to around $200 range. If anything is over $200, it probably is a little overpriced. Now about the sizes, the mature males, the mature females, and their lifespan. Okay, so Tapinauchenius aren't very terribly large arboreal species that you probably would expect seeing from a Sommopoeus or a Poecilotheria, but generally they range at least from at least a 3.5 to around 5.5 inch leg span. The gigas, the orange tree spider, is actually the largest member, as I explained earlier, can reach a 5 to 5.5 inch leg span. So this is Barb. She is my mature female. Oh yes, people ask me all the time of how to tell whether or not your female is mature. I have stated this in the mating tutorial video. Whenever you see a tarantula that's pretty much full grown, like 1 to 2 inches, you can consider them mature. As well as if you try to mate them and they respond, that's a sign of a mature female. As well as their molting periods between them. If they're really long, then you have a good chance that your female is mature. So this is my gigas. She is around 4.5 inches. She's almost full grown. Oh yeah, she's nice. Nice and evil too. So pretty much most of the Tapinauchenius are going to be around this size, like the Subcarulus, the Capurius, Latipeeps, and so forth. My gigas is not full grown. She can at least have a couple of more centimeters to grow to. As you can see, she is not happy. And that's the case with these Tapinauchenius. Now I have a mature males, which is the St. Vincent's tree spider, or the St. Lucia's tree spider. This is Armando's mature male. I'm not sure if you can actually see him. Well, if you saw from the feeding video, he's not very friendly at all. So that's what he looks like. He's actually a lot bigger than I expected. He's probably around 5 inches. And you can see threat posture, very common for Tapinauchenius. He wants to attack. Okay. Yep, that's your definite tappy behavior. As well as I have a mature female that actually has her sac, which I'm not going to disturb. Oh, you haven't really seen what Tapinauchenius antivincenti look like. They're pretty much very similar to your Vicularia versicolor. They do have like kind of reddish tinges on the legs, some sort of a metallic green abdomen, as well as a red abdomen. And that's what she looks like, and that's her sac. Really nice. And she's protecting it. Now about mature males now. So as you've seen from Armando's mature male T. sancti-vincenti, mature males really don't terribly have a long lifespan. Around 2 to 3 years is probably give or take for the species. They do possess tibial hooks as well as bulbous pedipalps. Mature females are slightly longer lived, around the 12 to 15 years. So because they're living so short compared to, like, let's say, a Iridopelma or a Grammostola, they're actually fairly quick growing. So if you remember the 4 gigas that I still have, these are 2-year-old spiderlings that I got from Tarantula Canada. As you probably recall from videos from 2010, we essentially loaned Amanda a mature male Tapinauchenius gigas. His name was Mr. Leahy, and we had 120 eggs, healthy eggs that hatched. So I kept 60 and she kept 60. I traded 30 off for a couple of teas. I don't exactly remember which teas I got, but I kept 30 for myself. A couple of them died off, and I sold a few. So these used to be 1/2 inch back 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago, I would say. So this one here is a 2-inch suspect female. Already showing its adult colors. This is another female. Right over there. And I do have a pair of males, so I'm pretty set for a good breeding project. That's a little male, around 2.5 inches. And here's the other male. They're all doing well in my care. Nice. So now, the next topic I'm going to cover is about the enclosure setups. Well, pretty much these are arboreal species, so 1/2 inch. To reiterate, a pill jar like this with some holes on the top as well as on the side, especially for keeping a subcorulus. It's essential to have. Now for juveniles, a size like 1.5 inches to around 3 inches, they're pretty good in these tall deli containers. These are the 32-ounce variety with Eco-Earth, as well as a piece of cork bark for them to hide and make their webs, as you see right here. Then adults are perfectly well established in 1-gallon Rubbermaid jars that you can get from Walmart. All you have to do is make some holes on the cover as well as the side for cross ventilation, add your piece of cork bark, and a water dish. It's exactly what I have for this gigas right here. And they seem to be fairly happy. Now, care sheet, humidity, and temperature. Well, these are pretty much very similar to Avicularias. They generally like around 80% humidity, as well as 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty much their typical temperature what they would do well at. I myself heat my room using both a humidifier by Sunbeam, which produces warm, moist air, so my room is pretty humid. As well, I use this ceramic home heater by Homes, and it does a fairly good job in keeping the room warm. Oh, and I forgot, the Iridopelmas have identical care sheet. Make sure you keep them well ventilated, especially well humid, as a spiderling. So I did forget to show you what Iridopelmas look like. This is a spiderling, male. You can see it's called a ribbed tree spider, and the female. Pretty nice. So now for my personal experience with owning these. Be prepared, because Tapinauchenius are very fast teas. Like, I mean, they teleport from one end to the blackboard to the end in literally 1 second. These are actually faster than pokies, and their attitude is a force to be reckoned with, because these tappies aren't happy tappies. These are evil tappies, just like Isabella, my Pekin Cerrites. And even aggression is seen from 1/2 inch spiderlings. Especially it becomes a chore when you have to water or feed these. These will run out whenever you have the chance. So in this case, like in the previous feeding video that I did, I had to bring these guys to the bathroom and give them water or feed them because they run out faster than you can say what happened. And that's exactly what happened with the feeding video. This little guy managed to escape on me, and luckily I was able to catch him. So these are definitely not recommended for the beginners, and you do need some experience to own these. Now, the bite reports about this species, well, I actually do have some info around this. My friend that I used to contact quite a few years ago, Jamie, YouTube user GIR3393. If you're watching this, hi Jamie. Well, pretty much he had been bitten by a T. gigas before, and he described the pain as the following. Let's say if someone sticks a red hot needle on your hand and sets it on fire, that's pretty much what a Tapinauchenius would feel like. So the venom of the Tapinauchenius and Iridopelma species are pretty similar to the Salmopoa species. They're intermediate, but not very potent like the Pokies, the H. mac, or the S. calceatum. But with a pain described like that, it's probably not a good idea to handle, especially for fast teas like that. Alright, now about mating and breeding. Well, I do have a lot of experience on these, and these are very easy to breed, and the process takes at least 15 to 20 minutes. Basically, I mated my Tapinauchenius Sancti Vincenti. I mated her once in November and December, and sure enough, I think because I had the right conditions in my room, warm and moist air, it actually got a sack, as you saw, in 2 months. So that's pretty good. So the average count of the egg sacs from experience with Amanda with our gigas, around 120 to 150 is probably should be suspected. So, overall recommendations, they're a nice species, although they're somewhat rare and uncommon, so they're making it a little hard to find. But they're pretty good price for a species that is not well known. But these are not for beginners. You have to understand, these are very fast teas, and they will likely bite. So don't handle and enjoy. So that's it for this Mythbuster video. So the next one I'm going to be doing, as everyone seems to be requesting this a lot, the Pecancerides, my spawn of hell. That's going to get one very soon. Alright, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll be posting some more videos later on now that I'm more available to make some videos. Alright, see you everyone.